Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The Catholic Church goes high-tech with the new My Parish app. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll explain coming up.
And a walking pilgrimage in Italy. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. No cell phones in church? No more. There's a new app out there that's all about church, sacraments, and the readings, connecting Catholics with their parishes. It's called the My Parish app, made available to all churches in the Diocese of Springfield by Catholic Communications. Carolee McGrath walks us through it in this report.
Teens and families gather at the Sunday night Life Teen Mass at St. Agnes in Dalton. It's no secret that young people are light years ahead when it comes to technology. And now the Catholic Church is catching up, connecting teens and Christ on what else? Their phones.
People will be invited to go to myparishapp.com to be able to download this tool that will help communication between our parishioners.
Father Chris Malatesta, the pastor of St. Agnes, designated the first Sunday of Advent as Download Sunday to launch the new My Parish app made available for free to all parishes in the diocese. The app, available for iPhones and Android services, will put all church events, bulletins, and daily readings right there at your fingertips. The app has been made available through Catholic Communications, the ministry which brings you Reel to Reel, Chalice of Salvation, and the Catholic Mirror.
It gives us a good opportunity to actually what they call push notifications, where actually anybody that has the app, it will actually push a notice to them. We have a mission starting at our parish this week. We'll push out a notice in regards to that. Everybody will instantly be reminded of the fact that it's happening.
Father Chris had some of the teens of the parish walk people through downloading the app.
Because I'm a lector here at St. Agnes, I think it's going to be really helpful to have the readings on my phone so that I can look at them beforehand and read them over before I can do them in Mass.
I really think it's exciting because we have so many people that are connected with social media, and they need to be able to access their faith, their religion. And just being able to have everything in one central location and being connected to see what's going on in our parish is just a great thing for us.
72-year-old Kathy Bramer, a great-grandma, is also a fan.
Oh, I love it. I've been using it for several weeks. And what I like about it is I no longer have to worry about getting a bulletin.
Not only can you find the Mass times in the church bulletin on the new app, but you can also find all of those prayers that you might not remember. If you're like me and panic every time you go into confession, you can find the act of contrition. It's the first prayer right here on your phone. Mark DuPont, the director of Catholic Communications, encourages all parishes to fully utilize the app. Pastors can even put their homilies on it.
Catholic Communications, since our origins maybe 75 years ago, have long strived to connect with the people in the parishes using the most modern technology and resources available. So this is just a continuation of that long-standing goal we have.
While some may frown on phones in church, Father Chris says the technology has great promise.
Some people would have a fear of bringing phones and those types of things into church, saying that they're going to be a distraction. I find that people are on them so much of their life anyway. Why don't we use it to evangelize and actually teach them about Jesus? And where people normally would pick up their phone maybe and kind of surf some things about sports or something like that, instead if they click on a Catholic resource.
Each parish in the diocese currently has basic information loaded on the app. Now it's up to individual pastors to personalize. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
The My Parish app can be downloaded on both iPhones and Android devices. You can also visit myparishapp.com for more information. And we have much more ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Dan Dumas takes a look at the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield. And Westfield State University students who may be experiencing food insecurity are being helped by an interfaith program. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passion's brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us Sunday morning at 10. This week we welcome Monsignor Christopher Conley, rector of St. Michael's Cathedral, as our Mass presider. The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on WWLP 22 News.
Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
The annual Catholic Appeal, One Family, Many Gifts.
I'm Dave Picard from the Take and Eat program. Thanks to the annual Catholic Appeal, for the past 14 years, we have been able to provide 500,000 weekend meals to the homebound and the elderly across Western Massachusetts.
The annual Catholic Appeal, One Family, Many Gifts. Please give generously in your parish or visit diospringfield.org.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. Music was in the air last weekend at the Barrington Stage in Pittsfield, where the diocesan singing priests took to the stage for their annual benefit concert. John Thornton was there and filed this report.
Barrington Stage Company in Pittsfield welcomed a unique group of 11 priests from across the Diocese of Springfield. Known simply as the Singing Priests, they performed their 5th annual Christmas concert to a nearly sold-out theater. All of the proceeds from the event went toward helping youth programs in Berkshire County. One of the performers was Father C.J. Waitkiss, pastor of St. Mary Parish in Longmeadow. He explained what the annual concert means to him and his fellow clergymen.
I always tell people that the priests, I think, get more out of it than the audience because we just have a really, really good time. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. I mean, the guys just really love. We become quite animated when we get up there, but it's a lot of fun.
Silence night, holy night.
The first half of the concert featured Father Matthew Alcombright, pastor of Mary Mother of Hope Parish in Springfield, on the piano as the other 10 priests sang religious Christmas songs, including Silent Night and What Child Is This? After a brief intermission, the second half proved to be quite different, as the priests donned ugly Christmas sweaters, which included lights and ornaments. They then proceeded to sing non-denominational holiday favorites, such as Frosty the Snowman, and It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, with lots of jokes sprinkled in between.
My homilies, my style is very laid back. No, I think humor is a huge part of the priesthood for me. It's part of my daily life. It's very much part of my homilies.
Springfield Bishop Mitchell T. Rzansky attended the performance and shared his thoughts on the special event.
Well, first of all, as we begin this season of Advent, it's just so wonderful to have a concert where we focus on sacred music, remembering the real reason for our Advent and Christmas season. And everyone here is enjoying the fact that it is a very fun concert but also very beautiful concert in the sacred music.
Plans are already in the works for next year's performance. I'm John Thornton.
And proceeds from this successful concert will go to fund youth outreach in the Berkshires. Now we take you to Springfield for another annual event, the blessing of married couples who are celebrating milestone anniversaries this year. Carolee McGrath has our story.
On a recent Sunday, people gathered at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield, where Bishop Rosansky celebrated a special anniversary mass for couples, blessing their marriages and families, and thanking them for their witness.
We can rejoice with you today because in your faith in God and in your love for one another, you have come to witness the power of God at work through you. Your commitment to one another started 60 or 50 or 25 or 40 years ago. But that commitment did not end with the words spoken at the altar. That commitment has been lived every day in your love for one another.
Close to 30 couples held hands renewing their vows. Marriage is one of the 7 sacraments of the Catholic Church, which teaches that Jesus pours out his grace through the sacraments. Deacon Joseph Kilbasa and his wife Nancy agreed that understanding that marriage is a sacrament with Christ in the middle has helped them for 40 years.
It's very important to keep God in your life. We pray together, fairly often. Like, for example, we always say grace before meals. That's probably the most common way, we pray together. We try to go to Mass together, when possible. With me being a deacon, sometimes that's not always possible, but when we do have the opportunity to do that, we do. We talk about God a lot, in our own lives, with our kids, with our grandkids.
Deacon Kilbasa is assigned to St. Thomas the Apostle Parish in West Springfield. He and Nancy married in 1977, raised 2 boys, and now have 3 grandchildren.
I couldn't do anything without God in my life. I literally ask him to be with me for every minute of every hour of every day because I know I can't do anything without him. And I recognize that we have beautiful children and grandchildren, but he was the one that gave us the strength to raise them to become who they are today.
John and Barbara Donovan recently celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary.
You just go along day to day. That's it.
Yes, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Whatever I
The Donovans raised 5 children.
take the lumps as they come and take the good and the bad and just to persevere and stay close together and go to church every Sunday.
It's simple advice, but apparently it works. In Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
In other news, All Saints Parish in Ware rededicated its chapel earlier in November. Andrei Kopacki has that story.
Looking for a place that brings all the saints together in one convenient spot? Then look no further than All Saints Parish in Ware.
The main idea is here years ago we used to have some kind of painting of the saints behind the altar and was removed when the church was renovated. I don't remember the correct year for that. And some people when I get here approach me about we should do that, we should put that back. And I said not really, but we do something else. And later I had people approaching me that if we can do the saints project here and put those saints there. It is important for different reasons. Number one, because this is All Saints Parish. Number two, that brings the community together because we have different saints. We have saints that are handmade in Spain, in Italy, in Poland, in France, and some of them in Arizona. And I want all of those people to be together.
In addition to the main worship space, the parish has now opened up a new side chapel for daily masses and special prayer groups.
Our daily mass is like between 18 to 30 people, and they're sitting in each corner of the church. And if you see, our main church is huge, and in this case, we can put all of those people together. They can hear better, they can worship together a little bit better than in the huge space.
And just for our curiosity, we couldn't let the pastor off the hook without letting us know his favorite saint.
I think Saint Michael would be my favorite, because if you go and look on him, he looks so majestic over there next to the tabernacle, and it is something special about him.
Reporting in Ware, this is Andre Kopacki.
Permanent deacons have become an important part of our diocesan community, helping out in parishes and ministries. They gathered recently for their appreciation dinner, and Dave Martin was there and filed this report.
Deacons of the Springfield Diocese said they are grateful for the opportunity to serve others in need. The diocese, in turn, offered its gratitude to those who serve in the diaconate ministry during the Deacon Appreciation Mass. It was con-celebrated by Springfield Bishop Mitchell T. Rosansky and Father Michael Tuig, pastor of St. Teresa Parish.
Many parishes have not one but two deacons, and we're able to complement the work of not only a pastor but the parish team and the work that it does, and so their support is tremendous.
Following the Mass, a dinner and ceremony of recognition took place in the parish hall. Deacon classes and their wives celebrating anniversaries posed for photos with Bishop Rosansky.
It's important to have this every year to thank our deacons for their ministries and to thank their families too for all that they do in support of the deacons' ministries.
This year, 2 deacons were given awards as they chose to retire. Deacon Fred Pelletier, who was unable to attend, retired from Immaculate Conception Parish in Holyoke. Deacon Terrence O'Connell, who retired from Providence Plates and Mary's Meadow, was honored for his nearly 30 years in the diaconate ministry.
We served our sisters and brothers, and they made us very, very humble as we went into nursing homes and hospitals, and we ministered to them. It made us a wonderful appreciation for Jesus and His church.
Bishop Rosansky hopes the diaconate ministry will continue to grow in the diocese. He said there are different roles that deacons are now performing, which involves them taking on more responsibilities. In South Hadley, I'm David Martin.
Finally, 2017 will be remembered for the centennial of Our Lady's apparitions in Fatima, a commemoration which was marked locally in Ludlow at Our Lady of Fatima Parish. Julie Bollier attended the closing ceremony and shares that story.
More than 150 people gathered for an outdoor mass celebrated by Bishop Mitchell Rosansky on the grounds of Our Lady of Fatima Parish in Ludlow. Festivities took place at the Our Lady of Fatima Shrine to commemorate the closing of this centennial celebration. October 13th, 1917, was the last of the 6 apparitions of the Virgin Mary to 3 shepherd children in Portugal.
Mary's message indeed transcends the ages, and it transcends the ages because it brings that spark of divinity to our really fallen humanity. And we see our fallen humanity evident in so many ways, particularly in the threats of war, in terrorism, and so many ways in which the face of Christ is marred because of the sins of this world.
Many faithful Catholics from around the world made a pilgrimage to the shrine in Fatima, Portugal this year. These 3 parishioners, portraying Francisco, Jacinta, and Lucia, made a trip with their families.
It's good because sometimes other kids don't get to do that stuff like we did, and we got to drop candles in the burning fire.
The evening concluded with a candlelight procession of the Our Lady of Fatima statue around the local shrine and parish grounds. The parish choir sang farewell to Our Lady of Fatima as participants waved candles and white handkerchiefs in her honor. In Ludlow, this is Julie Bollier reporting.
And of course, our very own Catholic Communications pilgrimage visited Fatima this past summer. You can find a link to those stories, as well as stay informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic Communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Reel to Reel. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Reel to Reel news briefs.
Pilgrimages come in all shapes and sizes. Some travel by bus, others by bicycle, or even horseback. In today's bustling world of fast-paced transportation, one man has set out to offer pilgrimages in the penitential tradition, the way St. Francis and Jesus would have, by walking. In this Catholic News Service piece, we see how these 13-day journeys from Assisi to Rome, Italy, are full of many experiences along the way.
Back in the Middle Ages, you really obviously didn't have cars, you didn't have modern forms of transportation. If you were a person of means from the nobility or the upper class, you might be able to take a horse. St. Francis and those in the penitential tradition walked, because Jesus walked, the disciples walked. It was about 3 years ago where I discovered the trail, the Way of St. Francis, the Camino of St. Francis. And I started promoting the Way of St. Francis, and it's just taking off. People are interested in it, they're walking it, they're enjoying it. You know, I accompany it and organize and help people do it. For those who began in Assisi and are going to Rome, we're about 30 kilometers from the destination, which you might be able to see it, but it's right over my right shoulder, and you can see the dome of St. Peter's there. It's about 30 kilometers away. So this is the second to last, the penultimate stage, which there's about 13 stages, 13 days of walking from Assisi here. So we're almost there.
Some of the trails are very narrow, 18 inches wide, some of the switchbacks. I have a little fear of heights, and some of those we were up 500, 600, 700 feet, and if you go off the trail, you're gone. So this is a good time to be thinking. It's quiet, and you're not I'm not bombarded with outside things, televisions and radios, and you know, the traffic and that. So I can think clearly and think back and realize that you know, I need a little more patience with people and with my family. Sure, yeah.
This morning we had Mass at Monte Rotondo at a Franciscan monastery, and every day we have Mass. Sometimes we have it at a pilgrimage site, a sanctuary, and for me it's a way of kind of joining heaven and earth as I'm walking, because you know, in the Eucharist there's no time. You enter into a space of God, which is really outside of time, and so it brings all of the people and the times that walk through these lands in the present.
When you get to your destination after 13, 14 days, sometimes a month of journey, you're beat up, you have blisters, your legs are sore, and when you really get there, it's a very moving experience.
And next July, you can go on a more comfortable pilgrimage with Bishop Mitchell Rosansky and Father Gary Daly to Eastern Europe. We have an informational night planned for January 4th. For more information, you can also log on to iobserve.org. A growing number of students on college campuses face food insecurity every day. To help tackle this hidden hunger, the interfaith community at Westfield State University opened a food pantry last year. Our Catholic Communications intern, Danielle McDonald, who is a senior at Westfield State University, visited the food pantry and brings us this update.
We are making it easier for people on our community to make ends meet.
Celeste Donovan, director of the TRIO program, has had the Common Goods Food Pantry up and running for 4 semesters now.
With each semester, our use has grown. We have had increases in the numbers of students and staff and faculty who have used the space, and increasing numbers of visits every single semester as well.
Located at the Second Congregational Church, Common Goods has served as a helping hand to those struggling to make ends meet within the Westfield State community.
There is a common conception that if you've made it to college, you've made it. And everything is taken care of, and you do your studying, and you live on campus, and everything's fine. There is no typical college student anymore, and that's not always the typical college experience by any stretch, particularly at public institutions. That's true in Massachusetts, that's true across the country. Our hope in providing a space where non-perishable food items and personal care items can be provided and can be offered bridges but one gap in the struggles that our students and our community at large faces.
Common Goods is a discreet way for faculty and staff to obtain food and goods that they need. Being located inside the neighboring church, it is an easy way to stay unseen.
We are very happy to facilitate the visiting process in any way possible. Other staff or faculty or students can visit the food pantry on behalf of another student or staff who does not want to come themselves, or we will do private visits, private appointments, one-on-one to have a nice welcoming and safe session for the person to discover the space and discover how easy and simple it is to use it.
We get emails or personal visits to the Interfaith Center from people who are looking for food, staff and families and students. So it's a mix of different people and groups, but we always do our best to respond.
Father Warren J. Savage has worked with Celeste Donovan, the Interfaith Advisory Council, and other interfaith chaplains within the Westfield State community to build upon this response to a community need.
The Catholic Church in particular has a vested interest in feeding the poor because that is a gospel mandate to feed the hungry, because in the hungry people we see the face of Jesus. So as a Catholic chaplain, the first thing that I must do is involve people with the gospel and to fulfill the gospel's mandate to feed the hungry. But as an interfaith center, we work with other faith traditions to also serve the hungry. So we have our Jewish people and our Muslim people and our Catholic Christians and other Christians from other denominations participating in this Common Goods food ministry.
Through the help of many volunteers and donations, Common Goods has been able to keep the shelves stocked for people, especially with the winter weather approaching.
Winter times are very difficult for a lot of people, so our food pantry will probably be depleted, which means we are going to ask people on campus and off campus to provide more food supplies, non-perishable goods. And we also, at the Interfaith Center, during my masses on Sunday, we ask people to donate gift certificates for people to buy turkeys or hams or whatever they can possibly give us to help offset those people who are in need.
Common Goods is certainly the work of many hands. We have many volunteers through our staff, our faculty, and our student body, not to mention the support of our neighbor, the Second Congregational Church, to ensure that this place is running and running smoothly. And we're very grateful to everybody involved.
I'm Danielle McDonald for Reel to Reel.
And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks for spending part of your evening with us. A reminder that next Saturday, December 16th, all are welcome to join Bishop Mitchell Rosansky for the annual celebration of lessons and carols at 7:30 p.m. at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield. The service consists of 9 scripture readings of the season, paired with congregational carols and choral anthems. The service begins in darkness, and as the story of the Nativity progresses, the candles and lights of the cathedral are lit. Please consider attending. And for more updates anytime, you can find information and news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world on our news and information site, iobserve.org. Also be sure to friend us on Facebook, where you will be able to travel with our reporters as they work on stories for Reel to Reel and get the latest news on the Catholic Church. Like us at Catholic Communications. I will be back here at the same time next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.